Hello folks, James White here with Blue Roof Property Management, and I'm here today to talk to you about ending a tenancy in the state of Oregon and what you need to know in order to do so. Now this does not include the city of Portland. The city of Portland has specific reasons. So if your property resides directly in the city limits, this will not apply to your property. If it's outside the city limits, let's say Beaverton, Hillsborough, Newburgh, Sherwood, Tiger, Tualatin, I can go on. This will apply to you. First thing to note, in the first year of tenancy, the first 12 months, you can terminate tenancy without a stated cause. So this is a without cause eviction. And at any time before the end of the first 12-month period, you can issue a termination notice that will take effect at the end of the current fixed term or within 90 days of a month-to-month agreement. Beyond the first year, it gets a little bit sticky. That's where there's only specified reasons or limited exceptions that you can terminate a tenancy after the first year, be it a month-to-month or a fixed-term lease, it doesn't matter. Something to note here that a lease in Oregon now converts directly to a month-to-month agreement at the end of the term. It's not an end of occupancy anymore. So the end of the term converts to month-to-month at the same rate that you have going in the lease as written, unless you've of course supplied a renewal notice with a rent increase or a rent increase notice. Now, on to the 6 specific exceptions or allowable reasons that you can terminate for cause in the state of Oregon after the first year of occupancy. Okay, so if you intend to demolish your unit or you intend to convert the unit to a use other than a residential use, maybe the property is zoned commercial but it has single family residence on it. You either intend to tear it down and put up an office complex, or you intend to rent out the property as a commercial building or operation, then you can terminate with proper notice for cause, and that's your first exception. Your second exception is that you intend to undertake repairs to the property, and either right now the property is unfit or unsafe for occupancy. You can issue notice for the reason of renovation, terminate your tenancy, and make those repairs. Or if your intent is to renovate the property, and as a result of the renovation, the unit will then be unfit or unsafe for occupancy, you can terminate tenants provided you begin the renovation within a reasonable period of time in both these cases. Now, a renovation in my mind that would be allowable by rule would be something very significant. We're not painting the unit, we're not putting carpet in the unit, we're not changing out the commode, we're not even updating plumbing in a bathroom. We're talking a significant renovation where we are, as an example, gutting the entire inside of the unit, all the drywalls off. We're going to rewire the entire house. We may even be taking down a couple of walls and reconfiguring the interior for a better layout. That, in my mind, I see that as a reason that the property will be unfit or unsafe for occupancy. So if you're using this particular exception as a reason for termination, be very careful. Number 3, you as the property owner just decide you want to move back into the home. That's an allowable reason. If you would like an immediate family member to move into your home, that's an allowable reason. The caveat being, you cannot have a similar or comparable unit available and open in order to give notice to this current tenant. There have to be no available units ready and waiting for this tenant in order to terminate their tenancy and cause them to move. Number 4, you've accepted an offer to purchase on the property. With proper notice and an accepted offer in hand, you can issue termination of tenancy and cause the tenant to move within the specified period of time after closing. The key is you have to have an accepted offer. It's not that the property's been listed for sale. It's not that you're thinking about listing the property for sale. It's not that a realtor has told you that if we list the property, we can provide notice to the tenant. You have to have listed the property, sold the property. I mean, caveat, you don't have to list it. You just have to sell it. So you have to have an accepted offer, and when you give notice to the tenant, you have to provide a copy of that offer to the tenant as evidence to the fact that you've accepted a purchase offer on the property. Then with proper notice, you can cause them to move. The fifth reason is you can issue a non-renewal or termination for violation notices. So if you've had 3 or more violations in the last 12-month period of time and you have given proper notification with the proper language to the tenant, you can terminate tenancy after the 3rd violation. That termination will become effective at the end of the current term or within 90 days if it's a month-to-month agreement, whichever is later. And finally, if you have a 2-plex or less or an ADU on your property, you got someone living in the garage, it's a legal ADU, or in the basement's an illegal ADU, you can simply give them 60 days notice. You can terminate without cause. If you are selling the property, we revert back a little bit to what we discussed before. You have to have an accepted offer. You have to provide evidence of the offer. You have to provide all that evidence within the specified time frame. And the bonus is you only have to give 30 days notice in this case. Or you can simply issue a 30-day notice prior to the specified ending date of a fixed term or 30 days prior to the date designated in the notice of termination of tenancy on a month-to-month agreement. Those are your 6 exceptions. Now, there are reasons why you would have to pay a tenant a 1-month relocation expense in the state of Oregon, and that is if you hold 4 or more units available for rent or that are rentals that are investment properties, not properties, units. So under these circumstances, in all cases, you have 4 or more units, you're going to issue a check to the tenant at the time that you terminate tenancy. So along with the notice, you're sending payment to the tenant before they've left the property. Now, if you'd like to discuss any of these rules and regulations, I'd love to talk to you about it. They're complicated, to be sure, and you want to be sure that you're sending the proper notices. So you can get in touch with me. You'll have my phone number and my email address here on the next slide in just a second. But finally, I want to talk about penalties for terminating the tenancy in the first year of occupancy if it's done improperly. Okay? The first thing you're going to be subjected to is 3 months rent as a penalty, period. The second item that you're going to be responsible for is any actual damages sustained by the tenant as a result of your improper termination. This can get very significant, folks. Think about it, a tenant who's moving out of the property, carrying boxes, trips down the stairs, hurts themselves, goes to the hospital, is out of work for 6 months as a result of this injury that's a result of them moving from your improper notice. You're going to be subjected to all of the damages that they incur. It could be they don't have health insurance and you're going to be responsible for their medical bills. They've been out of work for 6 months. Their salary has not been paid. You could be held responsible for that too. So it can add up real quick, real fast, and become real damaging if you don't do the right thing. In addition, you'll have potential attorney fees and legal costs. And finally, it's a basis for a non-eviction action to the tenant's favor if you've done this improperly. And again, there's additional penalties and violations of state law that I'm sure we aren't even able to conjure up right here, right now. That's a conversation for an attorney. So the rule of thumb here, we've got 6 reasons and 6 exceptions in order to terminate tenancy, and what we want to do is the right thing and terminate tenancy properly, and don't get yourself into trouble. All right, until next time, I'm James White, Blue Roof Property Management. If you'd like a copy of these slides, I know it's a little difficult to read in the video, please get in touch with me. My phone number is here. My email address is there. All you have to do is ask if you have some questions. I'd be happy to try to answer them for you. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.